guys, it's Hope. Today I am here to share with you a comparison on two highlighters. This is the Pixi and Aspen Ovard highlighter, or the glowy powder. This product, I would say you're probably living under a rock if you haven't heard of it yet and you watch YouTube videos, because this is raved about. And I am also going to be comparing it to the NYX Illuminator. So I have the Pixi one in the shade London Luster, the NYX one in the shade Ritualistic, and I'm going to be comparing both sides, the formulas, the packaging, how they look on the cheekbones, and so on and so forth. So let's hop right in and get started. This side I have the Pixi and Aspen Ovard, and this side I have the NYX. As you can tell, they do look similar but different. And so I think we should just hop right into the demo first and then come back and we'll talk a little bit more about it so I don't give away anything. So let's hop right into the demo. Okay, so I am going to be using the Pixi on this side and the NYX on this side. And I have my face makeup done. I have primed, foundation, concealer, powder, blush, bronzer, and now I am going to highlight. So as you guys know, I love my Pixi highlighter, but this NYX one, when I swatch it, looks very similar. These are the two. Obviously the price difference, the Pixi one is twice as much as the NYX one. I do feel like the NYX one is a little bit more powdery. Just do a little swirl. This one's the Pixi, this one's the NYX. So here's the Pixi. Here's the NYX. So as you can tell from the swatch, the Pixi one is a little less powdery. If I kind of go back and forth with them and kind of make them look like whatever, they do look so similar. The Pixi's on this side, the NYX is here. The Pixi I feel like has a little bit more of a yellow tone, and the NYX one has a little bit more of just like a silvery white undertone, but they are very, very similar. Apply them to my cheeks. I'll use two different brushes. I'm using just this kind of tapered one from Arbonne, and then this is the e.l.f. highlighting brush. And we are going to see kind of what it looks like. If it looks, one is more reflectant than the other, and kind of just how we feel with that. So I'm going to start with the Pixi one. I love this one. And if I like this NYX, if I think the NYX one looks better, so I'm just going to kind of dip it in. This Pixi one is pretty powdery as well, and I'm getting all over my computer. So like it is kind of powdery, but I'm just gonna do a little bit. Do you see that though? Like two swipes and it's like intense. Apply it how I normally do, just kind of on the tops of the cheekbones. Bring it up. I just have my brows done too, by the way. I didn't say that either. So that is kind of just like a little bit of the Pixi one. Now I'm gonna go on the other side with a different brush for the NYX one. Sorry, my hair is a little crazy. So this one, when you dip it in, it is very powdery as well. So they're both pretty powdery. If they work well and they're very intense and they look cool, I can get past that. So here's the NYX. So again, very intense. Bring it up a little bit. I do feel like I don't like this brush as well. I feel like it's too big. I definitely think the Pixi one is a lot more intense when you first apply it. Like you put it on and it's like ba-bam. This one has that effect where it's very, it stands out, but you have to build it up a little bit. And it just doesn't get to that point of reflection as much, I feel like, as this one. This one does do, the NYX one does do a very highlighting effect, and you can really see it, especially like when I turn. I got it a little far over. This one is just a little bit more reflectant than this one, if you know what I mean. And this one obviously didn't take as long to build up. Like I did one swipe, and it's just like intense like this. If you're kind of wanting the same color tones, it's really depending on if you want it to be like a very intense highlight where it's like really reflectant and you can tell like this is like an intense highlight, or if you want something that is going to stand out and you can tell you have highlight on, but it's not necessarily going to be that intense reflectant. The next one is just a tone down from the Pixi one. So I'm going to finish my makeup and I'll be back and share with you my final thoughts. So this side does look a little bit more reflected, as you can tell, compared to this side. It's not as intense. They do look like very similar in color, but they're just, the Pixi one is a lot more like highlighty, ba-bam, intense, whereas the NYX one is intense and you can see it. Pixi one and the NYX are like this, and the Pixi's a step above. They're very similar, but the Pixi's just a step above with a little bit more of a reflectant. So honestly, I would say the NYX one is half the price of the Pixi one. Pixi is pretty expensive, but it is definitely worth the money. I feel like it is a little more powdery than like the Becca ones, but it's still, you're basically getting kind of, I like to compare it, it's very similar to the Becca ones, except for it's just a little more powdery. So I almost say that you're kind of getting a deal with this, because you're kind of getting the same thing as a Becca, not necessarily the same color. The Pixi one has 2 colors. This NYX one, I'm not exactly sure how many. I know they have different colors though. They do have more color. I want to say around 5-ish. The NYX one does have more colors than the Pixi one does. So you have a little bit more of a range of variety. If you are wanting something that is going to be intense and you can build it up and it's going to look shiny, it's going to look like you have highlight on, but it's not necessarily going to be like, is she going full glam makeup? Like what event is she going to tonight? Why is she at work with this intense highlight? Then you would really like this one. If you don't kind of want that, if you want it to just be like intense, but it's not like, where is she going after this kind of thing. But if you want one that's going to be like, you're going to an event, or you're like, oh my gosh, I need to, or even if you just like wearing an intense highlighter like this every single day, you would like this one. They do give off the pretty similar vibe. The only thing is the Pixi one is a step above with the shine. I think that they look very similar. They're very similar in tone and color. This one just is a little bit more intense than this one. That's really the only difference. Next one is a little bit more powdery, I feel, than the Pixi one. I feel like obviously the Pixi one does look a little bit more reflectant than the next one, but overall, they both do kick back a little bit of powder, so that's the only downside. I can get past that. When you look at how good this looks, I can get past a little powder. That's just what I have to say with that. So I do think that these are very good. Like I said, not dupes. I feel like a lot of people on an everyday basis don't want a very intense one like this, but they want something that you can still see. Then I would definitely go with the next one. I hope this was helpful. If it was, please thumbs it up to let me know. Let me know in the comments if there's any other kind of comparison products you would like me to do. If there's 2 that are very similar that you're like, I need to be compared to, let me know in the comments. I hope you will subscribe and stick around and catch my future videos coming soon. And until then, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!